From Newsmax, which is actually quite funny, a shocking new projection from pollster Nate Silver has Republican presidential nominee Donald Trump winning every swing state en route to an election landslide over Vice President Kamala Harris, Mediaite reported Monday. So I think we have the interactive polls here. Look at this. Pennsylvania, Trump. Michigan, Trump. Wisconsin, Trump. Arizona, North Carolina, Georgia, Nevada. All Trump, 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 Trump. Poly market. Trump is at 52%. It's just getting better and better for the guy. We can pull up the latest Silver Bulletin. Let me refresh this, actually. I think he's revised it, and it's even better. 64.4% Trump to win, with a projected electoral vote count of 281. I'm going to read that again for you. Trump is en route to an election landslide over Kamala Harris, and I'm reading this to get you really excited, because then when Kamala Harris wins, you'll be equally as disappointed. I tell you, if you're sitting here right now saying, woohoo, we're going to win, Trump's going to win, whatever, you're going to lose. It's only when you push as hard as you can and you get out there and you vote, you do whatever you have to do, you register your friends, you get everybody registered to vote, that's when you win. But the reality is, no matter what Nate Silver is telling you, we have no idea what's going to happen. So the only thing that matters is assume nothing. Assume nothing. You need to get out and do the work.
I can't tell whether it's kind of sweet or a nasty heckle that they've included Kennedy right at the bottom on the axis line there.
Sort of stops, though. Kennedy drops off as a landmark for us.
0% across the board.
Yeah. Look, I think all of this stuff is nonsense, to be honest with you. And I think the pollsters have not managed to figure out new methodologies that work with a snap candidate, that work with this election, that, take into account everything that changed. Remember, a lot of things changed in 2019 and in the run up to the 2020 election, the way votes are cast, the length of period of time you have to send in your vote. And I think pollsters really have not accounted for all of that, which is why
this is not
stuff all over the place.
It's not a poll.
No, it's not a poll. It's a percentage likelihood. Right.
This is a prediction model.
And this is based off it's the same sets of kinds of data that you're talking about.
I got to give Nate Silver a little bit more credit. He's talked about how he's updated the model over the past several years. He's selected for polls that are weighted more correctly. And more importantly, he said that the current skewing Trump is facing, the model actually predicted the increase. So people got, on the left, liberals, they got mad because he wasn't giving Kamala Harris the convention bump.
Sure.
And he was like, there's not going to be one. It's not happening. So they were like, no, the probability of her winning should go up because after the convention, she's going to see a poll increase. And he goes, no, she won't. Mm-hmm. And she didn't. And with this bump in Trump, he said recently, I think he said on X, that the projection model actually predicted Trump's likelihood to increase in the way we are seeing now. And or something to the effect of, we predict that the model predicted Kamala Harris's polls would not be improving, and they have not been. Now, he does say it's an opportune moment for her with the debate coming up because this is her chance to swing it back in, to bring it back around. I really don't think she can do that. So just so everybody knows, tomorrow night, special live show with members of Congress in D.C. as we're going to have on a rotating panel of various members of Congress who are going to comment on the debate. I imagine it's going to be very, very funny.
So just to come back on your point there for a second with the data that's going in. So firstly, you have to take into account that this is what Nate Silver believes are the more reliable polling that he works into his model, which I'm not necessarily sure I'm ready to do yet, is make that leap of trust there. And the reason I'm not ready to do that is because it goes back to my earlier point, is that those pollsters, right, you talk about the post-convention bump. There hasn't actually been a proper, mega measurable poll bump in the last several presidential elections now. I think going back to 2000, there hasn't been 3 or 4% you might get, but those are within the margins of error on a lot of these polls. So it's not like in the 70s where you'd have this and it would be everywhere, it'd be front page of every newspaper, and that's all people were seeing, and then people were telling the opinion pollsters, oh yeah, I did like what he said about this because it's on the front page for 3 fucking weeks straight after their convention. Now you're getting these immediacy, like tries to measure, they're measuring sentiment now, right, coming out of these things. How did you feel when she said this certain word and that certain word? And yeah. I think a lot of it is just dog shit. I really do.
Have you seen the things where they have like the focus group watch the debate, yep, and they'll give them a knob?
Yep.
Like you twist the knob when you feel good, when left when you feel bad, and then you can watch in real time the collective, like, we like this, we don't like this.
Yeah.
That is funny because ultimately the problem is, who are these people?
Right.
There was some viral story where Democrats were all mad because some conservative podcaster was brought on as an undecided voter. And then was just like, I'm going to vote for Trump. And it's like, you were voting for Trump the whole time.
Can we see Pennsylvania? What does it say about Pennsylvania specifically? Because that is
Pennsylvania,
the real bellwether.
so this,
Okay.
check it out. Currently in the polls, Pennsylvania is D plus 0.3. However, in the last week, it's improved by Trump by nearly 1 whole point.
This is after Tim Walz spending multiple days there, so he's really hurting the campaign.
I don't think Republicans have
Seriously,
won
it's getting worse.
in Pennsylvania since, what was it, Raheem? Did you say 2016?
16, yeah.
The last time Republicans won there. So that's why I'm a little, I think that's where it really will all come down to.
Yeah, I think it does. I mean, that's a Nate Silver prediction too. That ultimately, without Pennsylvania,
It's all Pennsylvania.
Yeah, she can't win. Harris can't win. Raheem, do you think the change in polling is largely due to moving from a print-based media to a digital media? You need more content and you need it faster.
No, there have been many different changes in polling. I did an article about this several years ago for Breitbart where we sort of went into the detail on something called random digit dial. How do you actually reach somebody that you want as somebody for the poll? Because you don't actually want all of these people. The reason that there's so much weighting put on all of this stuff is because sometimes they oversample, sometimes they undersample. I mean, honestly, with some of the measurements I've seen running polls, they'll poll 3 black people and then weight that up as if they're speaking to black people all around the country. And it's completely useless data unless you're dealing with like savant level type stuff, which, believe me, most of these pollsters are not, right? These are commercial pollsters. They're doing it just because their clients are paying them to do it. These aren't passion projects for them. You're ending up, and so, and then now there's online surveys, there's all of this other stuff that you get into. Listen, back in 2016, what was the most influential poll all year round? Well, it was the Drudge poll. And that was nowhere near scientific. It was not a real poll. It was not weighted. It was just a survey, a button on a website. But it set the news cycle in motion. And that's what people wanted to see over and over and over again.
Interesting.
So if we go to the Electoral College map right here, and we give Trump all of the swing states, but we give Pennsylvania to Democrats, it don't matter. Trump wins.
He's winning Georgia in this model too?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I hope
I mean, no, this is Nate Silver's chance of winning. Pennsylvania, 65%. Michigan, 55. Wisconsin, 53. Arizona, 77. North Carolina, 76. Georgia, 69. Nevada, 61. 56 days from the election. Now, one thing I did see that was interesting was that in several, I can't remember, I think it was Michigan, I'm not sure, but Democrats in the Senate, I think it's like 3 different states in this, Democrats are leading in their Senate races in these swing states substantially. So the argument is, how could Trump possibly have be favored to win if the polling is swinging so heavily towards a Democrat senator? Well, it's actually quite simple. It's not good for Trump that the Senate would be Democrat, but Kamala Harris is just that bad. Mm-hmm. Joe Biden was worse, and they didn't think he'd be able to win. So they brought in Kamala Harris because the money, I think the real issue was the money. It's already questionable if Kamala can take the money from the Biden campaign, and they're arguing she can, but apparently she used Biden's FEC number instead of her own. It's this whole mess. If they were to try and swap in anybody else, the money's gone.
Yep.
So they're just thinking, look, we need the money. We have to do Kamala.
Right.
And Kamala is not popular.
Well, and the Senate race, especially in contentious states, they've had more time. They've been running for much longer than Harris has. So I could understand where they might have made more inroads in their own communities. What I find interesting about Harris overall, and I've made this point before, but she is not a stand-in that I think Democrats are happier with. I think they would have preferred to see a competition leading in a culmination at the DNC because it would have encouraged voter participation. I've told the story before that the first Harris sign I saw in this area was not actually a Harris sign. It was a Biden-Harris sign that someone had cut in half. And now someone else has told me that she's seen similar ones, but instead of cutting Biden off, they just plaster over it like teachers for, and then it says Harris. Like they are throwing her in because she's there, but not because she has any true influence or is an inspiring candidate. And I think for a lot of contentious races, they're actually trying to distance themselves from her. Look at John Tester in Montana. He wouldn't endorse her.
Well, Trump has a 3.4% chance of winning New Jersey. Look at that. New Jersey.
What about New York?
New York is 1%. Hey, that's a single digit.
There you go.
That's a single digit right there.
By the way,
Massachusetts is a half
Trump
point.
would never let us forget if he won New York. He would talk about it forever.
Those yard signs, by the way, that's just responsible recycling. Okay?
That's true. It's very green.
Environmentally friendly. Look, there was a point in time where, the idea of New York being in play wasn't completely out there when Biden was the candidate.
Yep.
And, the debate, I think, was campaign malpractice. They shouldn't have allowed him to, do that early in a debate with Biden, get him out of the race. But the reason Pelosi wanted him out of the race was they saw how he was hurting all the down ticket races. Yes. And so now you're seeing a situation where a little bit of pressure has been alleviated down ticket. But as you say, people just aren't buying the Kamala stuff. And again, I agree with you. Tomorrow night, it's really his. I don't want to say it like this because it puts pressure on him, but it's his to lose.
Harris might win New York, but if she loses the House seats all around the city, if she continues losing upstate, a lot of House members on Long Island, in these purple districts, if they can't maintain the House, the Democrats, or do the Republicans have the majority now?
Republicans have majority in the House, but if Democrats can't maintain majority in the Senate and or take control of the House, if Trump wins, it's going to be a very tough time for them legislatively. Thanks for watching this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to check out the live show Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. on this channel. Subscribe and we'll see you all there.